Hi, I'm Arlene McIntyre, Creative Director at Ventura Design, and you're listening to Shut the Front Door, a light-hearted podcast that will bring you through the front door and into the homes of influential and interesting people. Home for me is one of the most important things in my life. My career has fortunately given me the opportunity to work closely with people and to help them create a home they will cherish forever. Today on Shut the Front Door, we are delighted to be joined by award-winning luxury interior and furniture designer Fiona Barratt-Campbell. Fiona is the founder and creative designer of FBC London and Fiona Barratt Interiors. With over 18 years' experience leading Fiona Barratt Interiors, having trained at London's Chelsea College of Art, followed by Parsons School of Design in New York, Fiona is sought after by clients for her imaginative use of texture, colours and shapes, all interpreted into graceful and timeless designs. Since her first very commission in 2006, a 12,000 square foot ski chalet in Switzerland for Richard Branson, her company's international perspective has been awarded with ambitious projects in the UK, Mallorca, Hong Kong, Moscow, and Beirut. Design has always been in Fiona's DNA. Her chief mentor and greatest inspiration was her grandfather, property developer Sir Lawrie Barratt, founder of the largest residential property development company in the UK in 1958, Barratt Homes. Married to Saul, mother to Ethan, Isabella, and Georgiana, Fiona, we are absolutely delighted to welcome you to Shut the Front Door. Thank you very much for joining me on Shut the Front Door.
Pleasure. Lovely to be here, especially on a very sunny January morning.
I know, it's gorgeous. It was absolutely beautiful here yesterday as well. It was like the perfect day, blue skies, really nice, crispy, cool weather. I love days like that.
Yeah, me too. It was a nice welcome change after the very dreary, grey, wet December we've had.
Oh gosh, I know. I've been following your career for years, Fiona, and I once visited your showroom on the lovely Pimlico Road. Is that where you're speaking to me from now?
No, I'm actually in our home in West Berkshire.
Oh.
But the showroom is still there, going strong. During COVID, actually just a few weeks before COVID, we signed a lease on the shop next door to ours on Pimlico Road. And basically during COVID, I think if there's any time that you're going to be closed for 9 or 10 months, it's probably during a global pandemic when nobody else is open as well. Yes. So in a way, there was a slight silver lining to that. We basically joined our showroom with the showroom next door that we acquired, and now have 3,000 square feet on Pimlico Road, which is absolutely fantastic. And that's a fantastic year since we reopened, which is great.
Oh, I have got to check it out. So when are you opening again, the new space?
Oh, it's open now. It's open.
Oh wow, I have to check it out. How exciting.
Yeah. And what was really great was I've actually now combined both my businesses into one site. So for the first time ever, I can basically be there for both the interior design business and the retail brand in the same location, which has been absolutely amazing for me over the past year.
Totally. And what a beautiful location to be in as well. Like Pimlico Road is so gorgeous.
It is. We're really lucky to be around like-minded businesses. And I think that's, really important. Being a luxury brand is that, the caliber of the other businesses on the street are where you are. So, it's good we might attract some buyers that then may discover other companies on the street that they didn't know, and vice versa. So we're really happy in that location. It's definitely a destination for luxury furniture.
Yeah, it definitely is. I remember strolling down that road one time. It was like a fall, I think it was in October a couple of years ago, and it was in the autumn, and it was just beautiful. And it feels like you're outside of the hustle and the bustle. It has a kind of a different feel to the Chelsea Design Centre. But
I think there's always something nice about being on the street. There's definitely, you get the character.
Definitely. And of course, Linley is one of your neighbors there. David Linley's beautiful showroom. Yeah, also gorgeous.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
You are very lucky. So I'd love to chat with you, if I may, about your first memories of home and what always stayed with you in your mind about, your environment when you were growing up.
I was very lucky to have a very happy childhood. I didn't want for anything, but also my parents were, business people themselves, self-starters, as was my grandfather, who you mentioned in the intro. So I think, coming from a family of entrepreneurs who have built their own business and understand, the dedication and the time that it takes to get there, they instilled very good morals in us as children, and not to take anything for granted, and that you have to work hard to get things in life that you want, and also to have a fulfilling career. And that was, I'm really thankful for my parents for that. And that's one thing that Sol and I are trying to do with our children as well. They're growing up, very lucky children, but they need to appreciate that, and they need to understand the value of money, and that you have to work hard.
Definitely. And so that obviously gave you all the stepping stones for your work ethic, which, is what you still have with you today.
Yeah, no, I do. It's lots of people tell me I'm a little bit of a workaholic, but I enjoy being busy. And, as children, your environment that you grow up in does very much influence how you are as a person, your mentality, how you operate. And seeing parents who, working a lot of hours, who are very busy, it naturally rubs off on you. And that's the way I like it. I'm not good if I don't have a lot to do.
Yes, you like it. You kind of buzz off of it. It is your motivator.
No, completely. I mean, I've been up since 5:30 this morning. I've been on my Peloton. I did about 30, 40 emails before 7 o'clock. I've cooked a beef stew.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I've taken the dogs for a walk. And I've been at my desk since 9. So I do thrive off that. I do thrive off that energy. And I think it's important as a company owner and as a director for your team, is to have somebody who has that energy, who is very positive, who's very go-getting. I mean, that's really, a good outlook to instill on your team. And it does rub off. I've seen that over the years.
Yeah. And of course, having, as you said, the energy, and you need to take care of yourself as well, because of course, the business is very demanding.
It is. And I sometimes push myself a little bit too far and get ill every sort of 6 or 7 weeks for a couple of days. But I've been doing that for 20 years, and it's very hard to change. And especially in a business like this, with the interior design and the retail brand, but definitely more with the interior design, is, the type of people we're working for, high-end luxury interiors, super high net worth individuals. It's a very involving process. Mm-hmm. And as my name is above the door, so I'm predominantly designing those projects at the forefront of every decision that we are making. And you've got to be there. It is very involving. You can't have it any other way. And I enjoy that, though. I don't see that as work, because I'm truly passionate about it. And I'm very thankful every day that I wake up that I'm able to do a job that I love. And I don't think you should ever forget that. There's a lot of people who don't enjoy what they do. And, I'm really appreciative that I have the opportunity to work with some amazing clients in some amazing countries. And I just kind of, like you said, I get a buzz off that.
And you're obviously a high achiever yourself.
Yeah, I think it's difficult when you grow up with, a grandfather who at the time in the 80s, was quite a powerful figure in the UK, was very friendly with Margaret Thatcher and a lot of other influential people of the time. And always in the newspaper, on the news. And that for me was, I thought that was normal. And then my mother and father setting up their own business in retail, and they were very successful. They sold out and retired in their early 40s. So, to have those sets of people in my family as role models, for me to work for somebody else I found that strange.
Yes, I know.
In a weird way.
Yeah, you needed to be kind of the captain of your own ship.
Yeah, and that was, from a young age, I knew I was going to have my own business. That was just it from a very young age.
But it's just in your DNA from the sounds of it. Like it's in your blood. And
yeah. I think that's right. I've had a journalist before ask me, can you teach someone to be an entrepreneur? And I think no. I think you've got to have the instinct and the drive within you, but you can hone it, but I don't think you can teach it. It's a mentality. It's an attitude. It's a complete self-motivation every single day. It just comes from within. It's passion. And it is. You can't really teach that to somebody. I really agree with you on that. No. It's a tough one. And lots of people are very talented, and there's lots of up and coming people in design who are very gifted and talented, but maybe they lack that kind of spark or that confidence or that go-to kind of attitude, which really gets you ahead. Yeah, no, that's true. But also for those people, it's finding the right business that can shape that creativity and give them the opportunity. Yes. And I'm very keen with operating like that within our firm is making sure people aren't pigeonholed and allowing people to grow, because at the end of the day, yes, there is a lot of administrative work with our projects, but we are creatives, and I think it's really important not to get lost in the daily grind and to allow people time to be creative, because we're so busy and we're always running at 100 miles an hour. I think just to allow people even, sort of a few hours just to go to the design center and get some inspiration. I think that's very important. Just step out of the boxing ring for a little while and collect your thoughts and totally become inspired. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's very hard to see the wood from the trees if you're just always at your desk, always, at your laptop. It can be daunting. It is. And sometimes, I feel guilty about actually sitting at the table with everybody and having lunch, because I think, oh my gosh, I've got so much to do. I just need to get on with it. But it is important because it just gives your mind a break and actually just resets you. And they need you as well. So that's really time well spent. Your team needs your energy around them. That's what motivates them and kind of keeps everybody on track. So it's important to invest that time with your team. Yeah, so we have a rule. We all sit together for lunch, which is really nice because both businesses, the retail and the interior business, talk about what's going on in their life, which is nice, what's happening in the business. And it's nice for both teams to hear what the other business is doing. But it's just actually really important time together as a company just to sit and chat and have that downtime. And then everybody feels motivated again, before they go back to their desks for the afternoon. That's really lovely. And you're all there to support each other and encourage each other and, problem solve together if necessary, all those things. It's good. Yeah, well, that's it. A problem shared is a problem halved, as they say, because everybody has different opinions and views on situations. And actually, it's really helpful to discuss it with other people. Even myself as a business leader, I set up my business at 25. Wow. And, it's frightening when you're making those decisions by yourself. I had no employees at that age, and it's really hard. You've got to have conviction in your own decisions. And if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. And it's really tough at 25 to tell yourself that. Yes, but my goodness, honestly, to have achieved all you have and to be that strong, just starting out on your own like that, it really was in your DNA. I think also, I always say to people, if you're going to start a business, do it as young as possible, because you have you have less responsibilities, probably you don't have a mortgage, you don't have children, and also you have less fear because you're less experienced as well. And I think that there's an element of that you need in a business. The older I've become, I'm definitely more wary in some ways, a lot more experienced, but you do become more wary that, when you're much younger, you have that energy just to go out and to just get on with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And are you still as big of a risk taker now as you were when you were starting out?
No. And also I've learned to say no, which is also a really important lesson in life, is we say yes a lot. And especially when you're younger and you're starting out and you're less experienced and you take a job that maybe isn't right, and you take too many jobs and you're working too long hours and you dilute yourself and you dilute your quality. And that's, you never want to say no when you start a business, but that is something that I've learned over the years, is actually to say no, not be afraid to say no.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And take the right projects. But yes, I'm definitely more wary in my older age.
So what exactly drew you into the world of design? I mean, you were obviously very influenced by your family, obviously everything that was around you. You were surrounded by entrepreneurs. But what actually helped navigate your career just to step into the world of design?
Well, I loved architecture and interiors, but I also love fashion. And originally I applied to go to Central St. Martin's for fashion.
Wow.
At 15, I was obsessed with fashion. I was sketching outfits, and I always loved art. From as long as I can remember, I loved art. I mean, I was so particular from, I think, the age of about 6, about stationery. And pencils and pens and everything. I had this drawer with all of my sketch pads in, and my pencils and my paint, and it was just immaculate. And I loved, these were really precious things to me. So I knew that I was obviously creative, and I like, making things with my hands as well. And then, as I said, when I got a little bit older, I thought that I would go into fashion. And then actually, when I did my art foundation, I really enjoyed the interior and architecture segment of the foundation course that we did. And that's when I switched. And I think what I always loved about what my grandfather did was he was building something physical. And as a creative, that's what I enjoy. Is my job is not in a computer screen. At the end of the day, it's not just a spreadsheet. We're building somebody's homes, or we're furnishing somebody's homes, with our furniture from the retail brand. And that's what I love. It was, my job is visible. And I had a client that said to me once at the end of the job, she said, "I'm so jealous about what you do." And I was thinking, why on earth? You've got a fantastic job, you're super successful at a young age. And she said, well, you're creating something for somebody. And, we're creating a home, and it's really special to be allowed into somebody's life and to be given that trust to create a home for them and their family. And that's what I really enjoy, and is building that relationship with my clients. And then at the end of a project, be it 2 or 3 years, and delivering them the most fantastic home that when they walk through their door, there's tears, and, they're just super happy with the result. And that's so meaningful.
Yes. And what do you think has been your favorite property that you've worked on to date?
I get asked that a lot, and there isn't a single property through my career that I could say I really love, because everyone has a different client, everyone is in a different location, every project has a different remit. And what I love about that is the challenges that each of those ones bring.
Mm-hmm. So when you say challenges, obviously the work in itself challenges, but do you find managing your clients' expectations a challenge also?
Yeah. It's something that we need to be constantly aware of every day. You've got to manage expectation. You've got to be ahead. You've got to be one step ahead of your clients. You've got to email them before they email you. But it's very hard. It's a hard industry because, these projects never run on time. They never run on budget. And that's what I usually say to clients at the beginning of a project. I always say, whatever you think you're going to spend, double it. And however long you think it's going to take, double it. And we'll be about there. And most people say to me at the end of the project, Fiona, when you said that to us, however long ago it was, we thought you were crazy. But actually, you were totally right.
That's really good, though. I think that is the best way to manage it, because then, of course, you're not over-promising and under-delivering.
Underachieving, yeah. Totally. And that's what I always say to my team. It's really important that we manage that expectation and, we keep people informed of, what is happening at every step of the way. Even if it's not good news, people need to know at some point, and sooner rather than later is always better.
Totally. And of course, one of your better known clients is Richard Branson, and he's just so incredible and an incredible entrepreneur as well. Were you inspired by him in any way? And what was it like working with him?
It was a great first project for me. I didn't have a lot of direct communication with him. I met him a few times and showed him the design, but I was working much more closely with the Virgin team. I actually got that job because the Virgin team, when they interviewed me, they said, how would you deal with somebody, as successful and as powerful and as famous as Richard? And I said, well, I would deal with him the same way that I deal with anybody, whether they've got £1 in their pocket or £1 billion in their pocket. And apparently that's why I got the project.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. But also I'd say, they would have picked up on your confidence and your background, and that you would have understood how to deal with someone like Richard Branson in terms of, your own background.
I think that's definitely helped, looking at my background, my grandfather and my parents, and, they were successful in business. That definitely, it allows you to talk on the same level. And like you said, the confidence. And that is something that is so important. And especially at 25, 26, when I started the business, I was going out and selling myself. At 25, I had to go and have an interview with Richard and, just me about the business.
Oh, wow.
And I had nothing to show other than to talk about myself and the visions that I have.
Wow. But he would be very instinctive, I'd imagine. So he would be almost, he would just need to know that you had the capability of executing it. I think that for him, I don't know him, obviously, I'm just guessing, but I'm just kind of thinking that might be the way he would have treated that meeting. He'd need to feel like he was vibing off you.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. And I have to say, most of our clients are super high net worth that have, self-made, and they all have those traits. They all very instinctive on people's personalities. Mm-hmm. And there's no nonsense either.
Yes.
You get to realize you don't talk with fluff. You just got to be direct. But also what I have learned over my career, and it's always been part of my personality, is to always bring humor into a situation. And people like that. It's always an icebreaker.
Of course, that and food. I've also heard that, meeting somebody for lunch, whatever it is about eating over a meeting, it relaxes the meeting.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you.
Yeah, that's another one. That's interesting. But I'd say in the case of Richard Branson, he definitely, he's self-made himself. So you can't really pull the wool over somebody's eyes like him. He's been around the block and he knows how things come together and he understands the value of money. But he also knew that you wouldn't buckle under the pressure. So I'd say that was big for you.
Yeah, that was, he took a real punt on me because my business was 11 days old at this point.
Oh my God. Incredible.
Yeah. So for me, I had nothing to lose. Yeah, sure. I was scared, but also that fear was a driver.
Of course.
So he, I had nothing to lose, but he had a lot to lose because he was, taking a risk on, a brand new company.
Mm-hmm.
But, they started renting that out at £30,000 a week. And within 2 or 3 months, they were up at 100 grand.
Wow.
So for them, it worked. It was the right decision.
Excellent. What a story.
And a great platform for me.
Wow, totally. What a wonderful story. Incredible experience that you'll never forget, that you learned so much from. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you.
And what do you find? Do you find that your clients like to be pushed and challenged into new ways of thinking, or do they come to you very definite about what they want? How does that process work for you?
Some clients come with very specific ideas. Some come very open. I like the challenge of the diversity between the characters of the clients. But what we're always constant within the firm is that even if people do come with very definite ideas, so for instance, starting with, the plan, the how they want the house or the property laid out, some people are very fixed. And I just say, do you know what? Just give me a couple of weeks. I know this is what you think you want, but you've probably been looking at this for 1 or 2 years. Let me just look at it with fresh eyes. And I go away. 2 weeks later, I come back with maybe 3 or 4 options that may turn on its head whatever they had done before. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting seeing people's reactions. And 9 out of 10 times they say, I had never, ever thought to have done that with the building. And actually, I love it.
Yes. So you've totally inspired them, taken them to a whole new place. Yeah.
And that's the beginning of the journey. We always start with the floor plans. And then I like to spend time with my clients. I always like to go and see where they are living currently, because that for me is really important, and sit and have coffee with them in their own home or lunch and have a chat. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting, part of my job, that psychological side of things, where you really get to understand the clients, how they interact together in their family, how they use their space, because everybody uses their space differently. And that's the first port of call. And then, slowly over those first few months, you build the trust. And then, when you start actually doing the full interior design, you have a much better idea of how they want their house to be finished. And that's a really it's all a process. And I really enjoy every stage of the project.
Yes, because I was going to ask you, say in any one project, what part of the whole process do you love the most? But you've just answered that really there, that you really enjoy each phase, each stage.
Each stage is totally different. And it's so lovely taking that journey with clients, because a lot of our clients are repeat clients who have been with us over a decade, and we've done multiple properties for them. What is lovely is watching their style develop. It's really interesting when we go on that journey together, because obviously my style develops over time as well, where I travel, what I'm exposed to, what I see. And my style has changed a lot. Now we use quite a bit of antiques and pattern and a lot more color than we did in the beginning. And it's really interesting. There's a particular family that we've worked with for 12 years now and done 4 projects. And I've watched their children grow from 4, the youngest ones were 4 at the time, to, they're over 16 now. They're like young men. And I've done, bedrooms in 4 properties for them at various stages of their lives. And it's been really interesting. And their style has now become very curated and a lot more eclectic. And we've driven that together over the years. And that's been really enjoyable for me. And, the project that we delivered about 18 months ago I am very proud of that. It's a beautiful, beautiful property. It's that lovely mix of very sort of modern new pieces plus mid-century modern antiques, Regency antiques, amazing lighting, mostly new, and then just really lovely textures in all the materials and the fabrics that we've used. And it was a real labour of love, a Georgian property. So that's been a lovely 12-year journey with them.
To that very super ultra refined sleek look to a more refined look, which is more, rustic and pared back, and like you mentioned, antiques and there's definitely a movement towards that now.
There is. And I think also it's been expedited by the pandemic. People spending a lot of time at home really value their home maybe more than they did before. And we've noticed people want to make it a lot more cozy and a lot more homely.
Yes, exactly. Or maybe just to feel like some of the pieces have a bit of history to them, or that, you know, not everything is necessarily brand new, you know, that it has a story that it tells, and it maybe came from their family, or, you know, I think, yeah, definitely there's been a shift.
Yes.
And what does good design mean to you?
I always say design has to have integrity, and that starts right from the bones of the project, from the architectural side of the design, and then you basically layer it up through the processes of the hard finishes, the soft finishes, the lighting. You know, the lighting is so important in a project, whether it's task lighting, mood lighting, and then you've got all the way through to the accessories that finish the project, and a lot of the time really bring it to life. And that, if you follow all those processes, and also what's really important fundamentally for us is when we start a project, it's not only the client's wishes and dreams and hopes for the project, but it's also the locality of the building. Is it a modern building? Is it an old building? And it's got to fit within its environment. Is it in the mountains? Is it by the sea? Is it in the city? Yes. You know, you've got to take all of those really important fundamental elements and then just start weaving everything together through every single stage of the design. And then you will build something with integrity that's also timeless. For me, our interiors are timeless. I look at projects we installed over a decade ago and they still look current. And I think that's really important, is not to follow fashions, is to do what is right for the client and also the building.
Nice. Yeah, of course. Of course. And do you have a favorite room type in a home when starting a fresh project that you love getting stuck into?
That's an interesting question, because I never, ever start with the same room when I do a house.
Really?
It just depends. When I sit down that day, what I've seen in the last 24 hours, or what room I look at on a plan, and then I just instinctively go, right, I feel like I can do that. And there are some days when we design a project, and it will usually take between 6 to 8 weeks to do a full project for me, and I don't work on anything else. Whilst I just focus on one project at a time, because I physically can't, you know, mentally can't take myself out of that project to do something else, because I'm fully engrossed in that. But yeah, I enjoy every single room. I really do. And yeah, there isn't one that I would start with.
And do you carefully select the projects you take on? Is that?
I do now. Yes. I do now. Like I said before, I took a lot of projects on when I was much younger, worked far too many hours, sort of 70 odd hours a week.
Oh dear.
And the older I've got, and obviously I've had children, and then COVID was a real breaking point for me, because for 15 years I had just built this business. I had 33 staff at the time. We had 17 projects, plus I had the retail business, which, you know, I design all of the furniture for that, as well as the interior business. And I was forced to stop. You know, I was taking over 60 international flights a year, and I was like, I'm actually really tired.
Yeah.
And I don't enjoy it right now. And that was, you know what, if COVID hadn't happened, I probably would have burnt myself out. So in a way, it was a silver lining for me. And I just thought, I need to realign my business and get it back to a size that I'm comfortable with, where I can, you know, dedicate 100% of my time for every single project that we have on our books. And we're down to 12 people now between both the businesses, which is a great size for me. And I'm really enjoying it again. And now I'm really particular. So we just got asked to pitch for a huge resort in Montenegro this week. And I actually said no, because I don't want to do anything that big again. I don't want to put myself under that pressure. And right now I'm really spending a lot of time building our retail business, FBC London. We have had a fantastic year, I said, in our expanded showroom in London. We opened in New York in the design center there, 200 Lexington, which is
fantastic. I've been there. Yes.
Yeah, it's a great building.
I know.
And we opened there September 20. We had despite the pandemic, a good first year. Mm-hmm. And we've had some amazing press. We were just reviewing it last week with our PR company, actually, in the States. And we had phenomenal amount of press, nearly 100 features last year on our retail brand in the States. So I've just it's been a real shift for me to the first time ever to sort of downsize and make the interiors much more boutique, mm-hmm. and take on projects that I really want to work on and allow myself more time to build this retail business in America and in the UK.
And do you like working in America? Do you like the American way? I mean, it's certainly different to
I do, because I'm very direct, mm-hmm. and they are direct. Yeah. And I was very lucky. I studied there at Parsons in New York, and I really enjoyed it. So for me, it was a natural step to go back and start in America. And I like the American mentality because there's no, I don't know if I'm allowed to say bullshit.
Yes.
Do you know what? If you are good at something, they value that. Mm-hmm. They won't make you famous for being talentless or successful for being talentless.
It's true.
And that's what I love about the American mentality. I mean, we've got so many ridiculous celebrities over here that are just famous for nothing.
I know. It's so true. And of course, in America, they have that can-do attitude. Anything is possible.
Yeah, and that's what I love. It's just very straightforward. There's no sort of messing around, and I really enjoy that. And we really are looking to expand into other markets in the States.
Gosh, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And how many people do you have working within your team at present?
We've got 12.
12 in total. So is that, okay. And there's
actually more now in the retail brand than there is in the interiors.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
For the first time ever, which was scary. It was a big change to sort of completely restructure your firm, where the interior business, was always the bigger business. And the retail one was just the small sort of up and coming little brother or little sister. And now I've made a decisive choice to sort of downsize the interiors to just much more boutique and really now pushing with the retail.
Yeah, you need to keep it fresh, though. I actually often say this in my podcasts, that every designer needs to keep it fresh and, try new things. And you are very creative. So, it would be so obvious that you'd want to explore different areas of your business.
Mm. But it's, as human beings, we are by nature afraid of change. And I'm a Taurus, which makes me even worse.
Oh, well, that explains a lot, Fiona, if you're a Taurus. So you're quite headstrong.
Yeah, I'm very headstrong. Yeah, I really am.
I'm surrounded by Taurians, by the way. And
they're a lovely time.
They are. They're great fun. But they're so hardworking and they have a great work ethic and they're super loyal. But it's game on. Like when they are in a project, it's just like they have blinkers on until it's done.
Correct. I am a bit like that sometimes. And do you know what? That is the really good thing about having my husband with eyes on both of my businesses.
Yes.
He doesn't work with us on a day-to-day basis, but he knows, everything that's going on. And actually with the interior side of the business, what I haven't discussed is that we are actually, half of the business is now our own development. So we are buying properties. Fiona Barratt Interiors is designing them and doing them up, and then we're fitting them out with FBC London furniture, so they become a showcase for our region.
Oh my gosh, how unbelievable.
So we have our first one on Cadogan Street in Chelsea, just off Sloane Square, which is finishing in about 6 weeks, which is super exciting. So we're currently in the process of organising all of our press events. So we're going to be having press breakfast, press dinners there. And then also we'll bring a lot of the retail clients around the house so they can see the furniture in situ rather than in just a showroom. So we're going to use it as a sales tool as well. So that was another reason to sort of downsize the interiors, to allow us time to do our own developments as well. And that has been really lovely, because I can allow my team to have more creativity. And I said to them, look, go away, like a little project. You guys go and put mood boards together, and I'm going to choose one of them.
Oh, nice. But they kind of know your look. They know the philosophy of your brand. Like, they know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, they do.
They do. God, that's amazing. So it's like you've just gone completely 360 on the whole.
Yeah, and it was hard. I was really afraid, and pre-COVID, when I made this decision to downsize the business, a lot of my team had been with me for 6 to 8 years, and I am really keen on taking people from university on internships, and then if they're good on internship, we keep them on and we train them completely. And basically, most of my team had come from internships, and that was a big decision for me, to be able to say to people, look, we're downsizing, I'm going to have to let you guys go. Because that's hard, because you've helped shape these people. You've taught them everything, I've invested so much time in them. And I was afraid to do that. I was really afraid. But in a way, it is liberating, because having 33 people on your staff it's a lot. It's a huge wage bill for a small business.
It is. And it's so stressful. I mean, it's just another added pressure. But like, the other side of looking at that is that look at all the experience they've gained, and like they can probably walk in anywhere and get a job.
Well, everyone who's gone has got really good jobs. Really good jobs.
There you go. So it's all win-win. It's all good karma.
Yeah.
And I asked this to all my guests, and I'm going to ask it to you. In any given design project, how much time would you spend on the concept side, and how much time would you spend on the actual execution of it?
The concept. So we basically do a sort of concept look and feel right at the beginning of the project, when we're just about to start, so we can give the client an idea of what we're thinking. And that usually takes about 2 weeks of 2 or 3 people working on that.
Yes.
Because it's so important.
Yes, it's the whole direction of the project.
It's the driver. It's the driver, because what you're showing your clients is what they're going to decide is going to be the direction for that project.
Correct.
And that is really important. And there've been times when we start, you feel like you have a direction, then you start putting it actually on the presentations digitally, and you start looking at it together, and you just think, not right at all. And then turning around to people and telling them just to bin the whole lot and we're starting again, just the resignation on their face. But I'm a perfectionist, and you just know in your gut, if it's not right, it's not right. You have to start again.
Yes. And why do you think it's not right? Because maybe you missed the brief, or because they've changed their minds maybe, and they've decided to...
No, it's just design is an evolutionary process. It's not like a mathematical sum. There's no black or white. And
I know.
It is a process. And whatever you put down first is not probably where you'll end up at the end of the project. And you've got to, what is so important is having that collaborative process with your clients. So, I start putting designs on paper, and you've got to allow that to sit on paper. You've got to take a step back. You've got to leave it for a few days, which is what we always do. I always take a step back, and then I'll revisit it. And then I'll say, okay, that section feels good. These sections don't. We're going to remove it. I'm going to go back, rethink. We're going to start again with that. And it's just like building blocks.
Yes. And see, a lot of your clients, though, wouldn't be creatives. So they might be coming from the corner that once they sign off, that they feel, they might be in their background might be that they're on, they're stockbrokers, or they're dealing with figures all the time. And they just see 2 + 2 is 4. They don't see how things can change. And so you're coming from a very creative corner, and you understand how things can evolve and change. So I suppose it's, how do you deliver that to them?
Yeah, I mean, I have been very lucky that I've had quite a few clients from the fashion industry randomly. So LVMH boss is one of them. But, I'm lucky that I have had those clients who understand creativity and are, particular in terms of what they want But then I obviously have had a lot of people who've made their money in finance, and it is very black and white. And
but like you said,
those are the people who don't want to are less likely to allow you additional time for that creative process in the beginning, because they just want wham bam done.
Exactly.
Let's go. And look, time is money. I'm not a time waster at all, but to get the best results, there needs to be a process.
Totally. And they, like you said at the very top of this chat, they need to trust you. And so if any changes are coming in, it's simply because your gut's telling you that this isn't really going to work out. And, with the property, with all those variables, because every project is so unique.
Correct.
They have to trust you. So it all comes down to that. But yes, a lot of clients can be very black and white. You agreed to a budget. You agreed to a deadline. They want to move in on this date.
Yeah.
So, it's tricky. And you're like, okay, well, we're in the middle of a pandemic for a start. And
oh my gosh, don't talk to me about supply chain issues right now.
Well, that was going to be my next question. So how have you worked through the pandemic?
Oh, there's been a lot of, it's in the news. People know about it, but it doesn't matter because they don't want it to affect them.
Yes.
It's like that NIMBY, not in my backyard. You know what? It's been on every stage of the process, not just with the manufacturers and the artisans that we use. It's the shipping. We've had Brexit to contend with, the paperwork now with product that's coming from Europe into the UK is phenomenal. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. And then you've got the ports are overwhelmed. So there's 2 or 3 weeks delays on ports. The shippers are just so busy. They can't fit you in. We're sat with stuff in warehouses for a month before we can even move it.
Shocking.
It's not just one part of the process, it's the whole part. And I really think it's going to take up to 18 months to fully realign.
Yeah. And have you found that a lot of businesses, especially fabric businesses, have moved out of Britain and into Europe just to make things run a little bit smoother for them? Have you found that?
Not at the moment. Mm-hmm. No, I've not found that.
Yeah, I believe a lot are, if they haven't already, that they are moving in that direction.
Oh, right. I mean, everybody is busy. Yeah. Everybody's order books are full.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, we are going to clients and saying, right, we know we'll be able to get these pieces in stock. We put them on the boards. We go back 4 or 5 days later after approval. Everything's gone.
Yeah. I know. It's torture.
It's crazy. And it makes you, it's not a great look because you've told your clients it's available.
I know. And then in like 24 hours, it's gone.
But sometimes less than 24 hours.
I know. We have a procurement team as well. And it's ridiculous. It's like putting in an order at a restaurant as fast as possible before it's gone.
I know. I know. It's crazy.
It's so crazy. And you don't want to let your client down. And you're trying to explain everything about this to them.
Yeah.
They kind of understand it. They kind of don't understand it. But we're all watching the same news on the television. So it's not.
I know.
I don't know how that, changes, but yeah, I know. I hear you. So is there any one place in the world that you love to visit for inspiration always?
I love everywhere I've been, and you just have to take bits of inspiration from wherever you can find it. I mean, with the retail brand, I'm very influenced by Roman history, Roman architecture. Mm-hmm. The jewelry, everything about their sort of lifestyle and their culture. I just think they were an amazing race, and so intuitive and very advanced for their time in terms of their thinking and the way they built their houses and everything. And growing up in Northumberland in the north of England, I was surrounded by Roman World Heritage sites. So I think that sort of history was ingrained in me, and that's been a real influence for those designs in the retail brand. And I love going to Italy, Greece, Turkey, and visiting temples and, sucking up all of this history.
I know it is. It's great. It's very important to travel.
And I think it gives, that's how you give design integrity and you give it a grounding, and I'm also inspired very much by nature. and the textures and the colors, and it's ever changing and evolving. And, I think that if you bring those elements of history into your design, I don't think you can go wrong. And I think it gives that timeless feel.
Definitely. Did you have a mentor when you were starting out in the business? Did you? Or was it, it was just more like a combination of, many different experiences that brought you where you are today?
Yeah. And like I said before, over the years with the traveling that I've done and the countries that, I've had the opportunity and been fortunate enough to work in, the people that I've met there, the cultures that I've experienced, the food that I've eaten, it shapes everything you do. You don't necessarily realize it does, but it does.
Yes, it does. Yeah, for sure. It influences you for sure.
Yeah. And it's so important. I always say to people, if you've got the opportunity to travel, do it.
Yeah, go. Yeah. And what would be your one big tip for someone looking to start a career in interior design?
I touched on the statement before, but you've got to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. And you have a thick skin and learn to say no. And those are the two things that I think I've learned over the years, as a very young person starting out, and it's very lonely. That's why you've got to believe in yourself.
Yes, it is. It can be very lonely.
It is very lonely.
That's true. Yeah. But yet, like you said, you've got to be, very strong-willed, strong-minded, determined, be prepared to roll up your sleeves and work hard.
I still hoover the floor if I need to. I wipe the worktops. I'm tidying people's desks for them. I always say to people, look, it's not above me. It's not above you.
Totally. Are you a neat freak?
I have OCD. Like, I can't sleep. Like, if we have a dinner party, I'll still be up at 2:00 in the evening, like even in the morning, clearing and washing, and everything has to be absolutely perfect before I can put my head on the pillow.
Oh my gosh. I know so many people like that, and they are all designers. Funny.
And it's exhausting being like that.
It is. It's just knowing.
But I think you've got to have, like, when you say it's a lot of designers, that I think you've got to have that way of thinking, because to go away and design a house or a property or apartment, whatever, on the level that we work at, it is so all-consuming. It is. Because it's not, people think, oh, it's great, you're an interior designer, you get to sort of, fluff around with fabrics all day. That's like 2% of our job. I
know. Well, this is bringing me back to my question that I asked you a few moments ago. Like, what percentage goes into concept? What percentage goes into the execution? Is it 70-30, 30 concept, 70 execution? Is it 50-50? What would you think is the percentage you'd put on that?
Well, the execution as being the admin of the entire project is probably
bringing it to its delivery.
It's like 85% of your time, I think.
Yeah.
There's 15% is creativity. The amount of admin and third-party companies that you deal with on a daily basis is phenomenal, because, buildings now versus 50, 60 years ago are hugely different. Let's just start in the building materials. So much more advanced, so much more complex, the amount of materials that go into the building. Then you've got the M&E. So all of the mechanical and electrical, the audio visual, the air conditioning, underfloor heating, all of these things have to be considered within the interior design. And it's all these third-party contractors and companies that you're working with just the infrastructure before you even get to the fluffy stuff.
I know. And then, of course, things are in stock, out of stock. There's delays. It's really hard to schedule things out like you would have been able to do in the past.
We run delivery schedules for every project, obviously, and it's just crazy. On some projects, you might have, up to 500 orders of items, and keeping track on those, it's like a full-time job for someone. Yeah.
And do you think that all of this that we're talking about now is something that a lot of clients simply do not maybe understand, or we just make it so seamless?
I would agree. It's very hard. If you're not in this industry, it's very hard to understand the amount of work that goes into a project. I think there's obviously some level of understanding, but it's a huge undertaking with these houses now.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah. And there's challenges like never before.
Yeah.
Out there. Yeah. Like whatever about them being difficult before, it's definitely very challenging now. And
it is. I look, when I started the business 16 years ago, and I was running 7 projects myself before I employed somebody. There's no way I could do that now. Just physically, there isn't enough hours in the day. Yeah. And that just shows how much more complicated and involved the projects have become in that short time.
And do you think all of these factors have actually helped drive you towards the retail side and curating your own?
Yes, because I can be creative and I can put it out there for people.
Yes,
and
without delays, and you're in control of it. You're not.
But I can just create a piece of furniture. It can be made and it can be put out there, and that's the end of the story.
Yes, exactly.
My parents were in retail, and I love that fast-paced side of the business, which you don't really see with the interiors, because the majority of our projects are over 2 years. So the retail side of it is I've designed it, I put it out there, and someone can come and buy it straight away. And I really enjoy that. I get the real kick out of that.
Yeah, of course you do. And do you find that the team that you've set up for the retail side is really important on how they can sell and represent your retail side of the business?
Yeah, I mean, that's the same for any business, but it has taken, it's taken years to get the right people.
Well, in your case, you have your design background, so it's kind of it's a little bit different because, it has your name over the door, and you've designed a lot of the products and curated them, collected them, put the collections together that are on the floor. So it's interesting how they tell that story.
Yeah, and people have got to understand the philosophy behind the brand, have got to deliver it with passion.
Yeah.
As well, and that has taken time, but I have a most fantastic team now, and I think that's why the retail business is really starting to take off, because I've got the right people behind it.
That's so exciting for you. How exciting for you. So what is the most important thing for you in terms of the future growth of your company right now?
Like I said, the expansion of the retail brand into more markets in America. Also, what we've seen, interestingly, this summer with travel still quite difficult, the retail business in London saw a lot of very, very healthy sales from Middle Eastern clients who had traveled over.
Wow. Yes.
So, we've had a couple of Saudi clients over the summer say your product needs to be in the Middle East. You need to open a store.
Oh, wow.
In Saudi, and that's one thing we're going to be looking at.
Definitely.
But also America is the main market for us.
Interesting.
For the next couple of years.
And are you buying from all over the world, or is a lot of...
No, I design every single piece, and we make it either in the UK or in Portugal. And then we ship it to wherever it needs to go. And people are buying things from as far flung as Mexico, Los Angeles, Denver. I mean, probably 10 or 12 cities in the US we've shipped to in the past few months. Europe, all the countries in Europe, then into the Middle East, and Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong. I mean, Russia, we're selling a lot to Russia as well. So it's really, our furniture's going globally, and that's the amazing thing, is it's designed here in the UK, predominantly made in the UK, but it's ending up in far-flung corners of the world.
Yes, which is cool, very cool to know that's happening. Is going green and being more sustainable in your design something you think about? Absolutely, which is why, I mean, all the veneers that we use are all from renewable sources. And that's, as much as part of the ethos of the brand is championing British craftsmanship, which I've done for many years, it's now even more important to lower our carbon footprint in terms of having everything made in the UK or in Europe. Yes. And does your own home reflect your own professional style? Not right now. Got a busy household. Well, we bought this house. We moved in August 20, and we developed, renovated all of our outbuildings
all of the other properties on the estate, as well as our pool and our pool house. Now, the pool house reflects my vision, but the main house we are yet to move out of. It's going to be a 2 or 3 year project. So we're currently in the stage of getting that priced, but talk to me in a few years and it will do.
And where's your favorite place in your home to go? Like to have a cup of coffee, take a phone call? Where do you like to go?
We have a beautiful traditional sort of Georgian drawing room here. It's all panelled and beautiful ornate detailing, and it's got a gorgeous open fire, and it's a lovely room. It's what I call the grown-up room. Even in my 40s, I call it the grown-up room, and it gets the sun from late morning, and in the evening it's just super cozy, and it just has a nice energy, and it's got great views. It looks down towards our lakes.
Oh, lovely. And what was the style like in your home growing up as a kid? I mean, do you have any specific memories about that?
My mum loves a lot of patterns. She's much more traditional. She did all the interiors herself. You know, she has no training, but she's a very, very good eye, and all of our homes are beautiful. She's what I would call the traditional English sort of Colfax and Fowler.
Gotcha.
Look. So it was very cozy. I mean, fabrics, like wallpaper everywhere, fabrics everywhere, pattern fabrics everywhere, loads of cushions. Lots of Regency antique furniture, old paintings, but I love that coziness, and I love going home and just enjoying that. The house just feels so warm and inviting when you go in.
She must be very proud of you and all you've achieved.
Yes, yeah, they are.
Yeah, they must be. And can you remember what posters you had on your teenage walls?
Oh, I had horses and footballers.
Oh, funny.
Only because I was the eldest child, and my dad loved Newcastle United.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's where I grew up. So he took me to the football matches because my brother was at boarding school.
Okay.
So that was my thing that I did with my dad, and we went to watch the football, and I just, as a teenager, had these footballers on the wall, and then randomly married one.
I know, and I mean, I believe he's also involved in the business. Isn't that correct?
He is, and actually, I think I started touching on that before. He's not, involved on a day-to-day basis, but he knows what's going on with every business. I discuss most big decisions with him. He's much more involved on the furniture side of the business than the interiors, but what is actually really nice is I grew up with my parents running and building a business together from scratch, evenly. My mum had one part of the business, my father had another. And that for me was very natural to have my husband involved, with my businesses and business decisions that I was making. And he gives me a very clear feedback on anything that we're talking about. It's there's no mincing of words, whereas if you talk to someone in your team, they might not feel that they can be totally honest. You will get an honest opinion back from your husband. I
mean, if anyone can tell you the truth, it will be your husband.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I don't always like what he says, but he's a very different mentality to me, and he's much more, if it's not working, just cut it. I'd be like, I need to keep going. I need to keep going with it onto the last legs. But he's like, no. And he had the vision to say, you need to set up this retail business. You're doing all these bespoke designs for people. They love them. You need to
totally,
do your own. And it was a massive undertaking, but he had the vision. He pushed. He found the showroom on Pimlico Road. He sorted all of that out, and he was the one that also said, right, we need to do our own development. And he was the one that he finds the sites, he organizes the financing. So, and I really enjoy working with him because also that's all I've ever known through my own parents.
And he is really great then, because he really understands you on a whole. He understands your whole philosophy and the business, the direction it's going in. He's not totally immersed in it 24/7. So that's why he has this really clear perspective. He can just see.
He could be very objective about it because he's not super involved.
Exactly. What's his star sign?
He is a Virgo.
Oh, Virgo. Gosh, so you're both earth signs. You're very hardworking. Interesting.
Yeah.
So
no, it's really, I've really enjoyed that. And also what's been fantastic is he's been so supportive of my businesses. You know, he retired just as my businesses were getting very busy. He, you know, undertook a huge amount of childcare responsibilities, household stuff. And it's really, you know, it's really hard to have two people with very successful careers without, you know, a huge backroom staff. But we've tried to keep it sort of real in terms of being very family orientated. And, you know, I certainly couldn't have done it without his support. You know, he's just so understanding with the amount of travel I was doing and so forth. And, you know, I think that's been nice because it allows you to go out in the morning, shut the front door, sorry, no pun intended, and be able to focus on your day.
Totally. I remember watching a program. It was an English channel, so I'm not sure which channel I saw it on in Ireland, that you took part in, about, you know, your business and your design business and the creation of homes and one of your showrooms. And I remember it showed that you just had a baby.
I was pregnant with Georgina. I was 9 months pregnant filming that.
I remember, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, you are some woman for one woman. And you were then back being filmed post having Georgina, and you were back at it. And I was thinking, wow, this woman is unstoppable.
Yeah, I had her on the Friday afternoon, and I was back at work on Monday. With her.
I know, it was filmed. I thought, oh my God, you're extraordinary.
I was breastfeeding in between that. I was like, you have to stop. I need to go and feed her. But the pressure and the amount of work we had at that point, I just didn't feel that I could take a step back. And with all my children, I've had less than a week maternity leave, and I brought them to work for the first sort of 4 to 6 weeks of their life. And then sort of gone back full time. And that's the really hard thing about having your own business is it makes it harder to step back.
I know, it's all consuming.
It is all consuming. And with hindsight, I would have loved to spend more time, would love to have spent more time with them when they were babies, but
when they're very, very small, when they're infants, they actually just sleep a lot and they don't really, in fairness, know what's going on. It would be more for you, for you to take that time out. I would be thinking of you more than anyone, but hey, it's your buzz, it's your motivator, and big decisions, needed to be made, and you obviously had to be there. So
and they're very well balanced kids, and they've been in and out of our work environment for years, and they understand that mummy works, and they are very well balanced kids. And I think it's important that they see, good role models in their parents, positive role models,
like you had.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had, my mum was always out at work. So
look, it didn't do you any harm. So there you go.
No.
So how do you look after yourself in the midst of all of that's going on in your busy schedule?
I bought a horse last year. Actually, I haven't owned a horse since I was about 15 years old. And that's been really nice. I also realized how unfit I was, but that's given me something to focus on, 3 or 4 days a week. When I ride, it's like, right, okay, I am actually going to go and ride the horse and take that time out, because when I'm on the horse, I can't answer the phone. I can't do my emails.
That's true.
And that's been a good outlet for me, because for sort of 16 years, I've done nothing but work super hard, travel and have kids. So that's been something for me. Yeah. But it's hard, every mother, working mum will say it's hard to find any time for yourself. And at the end of the day, if I can watch some trash on TV half an hour and have a glass of wine, I'll be more than happy.
Exactly. Take it wherever you can get it.
Yeah.
Does social media fit into your life at all?
Oh, God, I'm just like the worst. Honestly, social media and me, it just don't get on. I find social media really difficult. I'm not that type of person who, it comes very naturally to upload stuff all the time. I'm very private in our private life.
Yes.
And work, we are just so busy, and we probably, need somebody just to focus on social media, but it's not on my radar and on my psyche, but I understand that that's how business works now.
Yes, it's really important for a lot of businesses, especially in the UK. I've noticed a lot of very big UK designers focus a lot on social media. They, it seems to work.
Yeah, they do. And I'm terrible. I think we've posted about 4 things in the past 4 months.
Well, that's
but I don't know. A part of me, wants to the business, any business that comes in to be organic from the interior side of things. Yes, we need it as a tool for the retail, but for the interiors, I just want to be more low key.
Yeah.
Wow.
Totally. And do you mind me asking you how you met Sal?
We first met in 1998 on a beach in Barbados. And then we met again about 6 years later when I was actually working for Kelly Hoppen, and he went out with Kelly. And then I left and they broke up, and we got in contact, and the rest is really history.
Wow. That's
a long time.
So how long would that be now that you're together? I'm trying to...
We've been married for 11 years. We've been together about 13.
Wow, that's
14,
amazing.
14 years.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's flown by.
You've achieved a lot. What was it like working with Kelly Hoppen?
It was a great working experience for me. It was my first proper job out of university. Originally, I was hired just to do freehand drawings of the interiors. And then within 18 months, I was running the interiors for her. So it was a huge learning curve for me. And I learned so much over the 3 years that I was there that allowed me then to go on and set up my own business.
Yeah, she's also an entrepreneur, and she has very good vision, and she's very direct, I'd imagine, and hardworking. Yes. So that would have been a wonderful experience for you. Okay, now, Fiona, if you were having a dinner party and you could only invite 3 people, either dead or alive, who would they be?
Definitely my husband.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I've never ever had this question before. Oh God, who would I like to have? You really put me on the spot.
Anyone, whoever.
My grandfather, who's unfortunately not alive.
Oh, okay.
The Queen. I would love to have dinner with the Queen. Apparently, she's got an amazing sense of humour, and I think she's the most unbelievable role model. She has towed the line for over 70 years. She'd just be fascinating.
She is. And give me one more. Oh, that's
Kim Kardashian. We very nearly had dinner with Kim and Kanye in Paris a few years ago, and then we ended up having to get an earlier train home because we had childcare issues. And actually, I think that would have been a really fun dinner.
Oh God, what a pity!
Yeah,
because he would have been fascinating.
Yeah, he would. I would be fascinated to have met him.
Oh wow, how cool that could have. That you were nearly that. Hopefully. Well,
I'm sure I'm going to think of loads of people as soon as we finish this. Actually,
go on. Exactly. No, I think you've got a good lineup there. That would be a very interesting dinner party. I'd love to see the Queen sitting opposite Kanye for sure. That would be good. Yeah. So what's the best piece of advice you have ever been given in your career?
God. Oh, yes, by my father, actually, when I was first starting the business. And I won't name names, but a very successful UK businessman who I'd given my proposal to. Very clear, wasn't, overpriced. He was literally just banging me down in terms of pricing, and I was thinking, God, how am I actually going to do this job? It's not even possible at this price. And he was a much older guy, maybe sort of 25 years older than me at the time. And, I felt quite intimidated as a young woman, 6 months into starting my business. And I just felt very under pressure. And my father said, buy yourself time. He said, don't feel under pressure. Just buy yourself time, take a moment. And that's actually really good advice. If ever I feel a little bit overwhelmed in a situation, I'll say I have to go away and discuss it with my other directors. I don't have any other directors.
Yes.
But they don't know that.
Yes. and just give yourself some time to think on it, that's really that was good.
And what I did was then go and speak to my father at the time and say, right, he's a very successful businessman. I said, right, what should I do? And it's hard, and that's what I was saying before, is learn to say no. And actually, the more I started to say no, the better the deal becomes. But you've got to be brave enough to do that and to walk away. And Sol says the same thing. He says, don't be afraid to walk away. And then things come back.
Yes, when they're right for you.
But that's really hard.
This all comes down to your confidence, Fiona.
Yeah, it does. And that's, for young people starting out, you've got to have that confidence in yourself.
Yeah, and it, it comes from your background and that inner confidence, that if you fall, you can get up again. And I think that's what
you must always get up.
Yes, whatever happens. And so where do you see yourself in the next 5 or even 10 years?
I'm hoping the next 10 years, the retail business is really pushing forward and is very successful. And we have multiple showrooms. And maybe in 10 years' time, I'm just doing our own developments, or maybe 1 or 2 interiors projects that I really want to do.
Yeah, passion projects.
Yeah, because they do take a lot out of me, and my children are getting to the stage where actually, they really need me. Isabella's 10, Ethan's 8, and Georgina is 6. Isabella will be off at boarding school within 3 years.
Yes.
So I really feel that I want to spend the time with the children more, and work less hours.
Yes.
Because and that's what I was saying before. The interior projects, it's a long time to commit. 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
It is a long time. So definitely pushing the retail brand is key for me in the next 10 years.
Well, listen, I wish you every success in the future. I don't think you need any luck, because I think it's all going to happen for you anyway. And I found
you make your own luck, right?
You make your own luck. Absolutely. And I'm just going to ask you what's called the quick fire round of questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Bath or shower?
Shower.
Text or talk?
Talk.
Red or white wine?
Red.
City or country living?
Country.
People or places?
People.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
Sin or virtue?
Virtue.
Home or abroad?
Home.
Retail or interior design?
Retail.
Site visits or office meetings?
Site visit.
And this is my final question. The Queen or Kanye?
The Queen, for sure.
The Queen, I agree. Oh, yeah, definitely. You better have that dinner soon.
Yeah, I know.
The clock's ticking. I found you just so inspirational. I love your energy. I love how strong you are. And
thank you. I really enjoyed chatting with you today. It's been a lot of fun.
And it's been fun. And listen, I wish you and your family all the best in the future. And I cannot wait to see your new showroom.
Yes, please let me know when you're coming over.
I will.
And we can have lunch.
Oh, totally. Let's do it. That's a deal.
Yeah.
You take care.
Great. You too. Thank you so much.